Hello, everybody. My name is Harry Lamangakis, and I'm the CTO of VoiceWeb. We are a solutions provider delivering conversational AI experiences. And today we will be discussing what you need to consider if you have just made the decision of delivering such experiences to your customers, or how you can measure how good you are in delivering these experiences to your customer once you have completed the launch of the service. So the first question to ask is, why did you decide to go down this path in the first place? Was it just because it was an action item on your to-do list? Was it like a deliverable that was assigned for you to start working on? Was it a tick in your digital transformation plan? And if so, is it a deliverable and end state, or is it an ongoing journey that you need to manage? What I will try to show you today is that delivering conversational AI should be treated as a transformation initiative for your organization. And as such, it is directly correlated to your digital transformation journey. So I will try to discuss with you today why digital transformation is not an end state, but it is an ongoing journey. And since it is, the same thing applies to your conversational AI initiative. So let's first start by trying to define what digital transformation is. We need to look at several revolutions in technology we have had over the past few decades. It took radio about 38 years to reach the critical mass of about 50 million users. If we move over to the second revolutionary technology, TV, it took TV about a third of the time to reach the same critical mass of users. And if we look at the internet, it took the internet again a third of the time to reach the same amount of users. So what do we see here? We see a pattern, right? We see the pattern that says that we are adopting new technologies faster and faster. Now let's look at two other images here. This is the image of a very well-known politician who was addressing a crowd back in 2010. You can see from the picture, there are a number of people holding digital cameras of the time, and also various smartphone models that were in circulation at the time. And their goal is to try to capture the moment, right? So it's a mixture of smartphones, digital cameras, and so on. Let's look at a similar picture just 6 years later. Again, we have a politician, a very well-known politician, addressing a crowd again. But this time, we see the crowd with their backs facing the politician. Now, in many cultures, this is not considered to be something polite, right? You're not supposed to turn your back to somebody who is talking to you. But what are these people actually doing? Well, these people are trying to take a selfie and have the politician in the background of the selfie. So what does this picture show us? It's a very powerful picture. What does it show us? It shows us that not only do we adapt new technologies faster, everybody in this picture is using a smartphone. There's absolutely no single digital camera. But adopting this technology has also made us change our social behavior. And this new social behavior is considered now acceptable, right? Turning your back in order to have somebody in the background of a selfie. So what does this mean, right? Well, what this means is that technology is adopted by society in an ever increasing rate. And once society has adapted technology faster than you can actually adapt it as an organization, you're putting yourself in the extinction list. The same way that Darwin said that if you do not adapt, you will be extinct. Okay. Digital Darwinism says exactly this. If you're not in a position to adapt quickly, you will become extinct. So essentially, going back to digital transformation, what we can say from what we have seen so far. First of all, change is the only constant. We will always have change. Second of all, the rate of change is increasing as time goes by. So what does this mean? Well, this means that uh, digital transformation and you adapting to this new digital world is not an end state. It will always be an ongoing journey. And this also implies that then you will need to measure and understand where you are in this journey. Are you ahead of society or are you behind the adoption of technology by society? So in order for you to measure, you will need certain KPIs in order to measure this, okay? So before we move over to the KPIs, let's try to understand what is a good digital organization. A good digital organization can have a lot of attributes, and we can waste hours trying to argue what to include in the list of these attributes. But there are four attributes that clearly set an organization as a digital leader and set them away ahead of the crowd. The first attribute is that such a successful digital organization allows the customer to be in control, and the customers do expect to be in control. The second thing is that such an organization allows for customers to have triple A interactions. What are triple A interactions? The ability to do anything from anywhere and at any time. These organizations are also able to quickly adapt to changing market conditions in a matter of days and not months or years. And of course, they embrace technology. They use technology at their core. They use technology in making day-to-day decisions, and they use technology when designing and delivering their products and services. So if we were to codify these attributes uh, into KPIs, right? Essentially, we would come up with three KPIs or three dimensions, if you would like, on which you can place yourself on this axis. So the first KPI has to do with the value you deliver to your customer. The second KPI has to do with your business agility, how fast you can adapt. And the third dimension has to do with uh, if you're using technology well, if it's at your core, if you're using it to make your day-to-day decisions, and if you're using technology while designing and delivering your products and services. So the idea from this point on is to show you that these three dimensions can be used also when we are discussing about measuring how good your conversational AI experiences are. Okay, we will use these three dimensions to measure your fluency in delivering conversational AI experiences. So let's look at them one by one. The first one is delivering customer value. What does this mean? Okay, what does this mean in plain English? Well, it means that you allow your customer to feel that they are in control, as we said. You're delivering convenience to the customer, the triple A interactions that we said before. The customer trusts the interactions with you, and you offer ultimate personalization. The customer understands that you're doing something specifically for them, right? For their own needs. It's a tailor-made offering or service or interaction with this specific customer. So does this dimension, does this KPI apply to conversational AI? Well, yes, it does. Why? Because you do offer convenience through conversational AI, the ability to converse with the brand from anywhere at any time and to discuss about anything. Do you do this? If you do this, yes, then your fluency is higher than somebody who does not. Your conversational AI experiences should offer and should make the customer feel that they can trust this experience, right? They do not need to call up an agent and confirm what the bot has told them, or they do not need to seek a secondary source of confirmation for their interaction with the bot. The conversational AI experience should offer ultimate personalization. So it does need to be in the correct context. It does need to authenticate, understand who the customer is, understand their sentiments, and so on. And finally, it should allow the customer to feel that they are in control. This means things like allowing the customer to exit the journey and move over to an agent, or move over to another channel, like a physical location or an online source, an online touch point, and so on. So yes, this dimension, this KPI of delivering customer value does apply to conversational AI initiatives. Let's look at the second dimension, which is that of business agility. What do we mean by business agility? Well, essentially, what we mean is that the organization now has an agile structure and governance, which means that it does have dedicated teams to deliver your products and services. These dedicated teams use agile methodologies to deliver them, but they also are teams that are built with end-to-end responsibility and do include every single role within them that is required in order to deliver the product or the service required. And finally, they do have an orientation on outcomes rather than features, let's say, of the product or the service. Does this also apply to conversational AI initiatives? Yes, it does. Why? Because for a successful CAI initiative, yes, you will need to have a dedicated team. The team will need to be consisting of members that are from every single role that is required. It will need to have conversational designers. It will need to have data scientists. It will need to have programmers, testers, business domain experts, process owners, and every single role that is required in order to make sure that it can deliver, and then with the end-to-end responsibility, a proper experience to the customer. At the same time, this team needs to have a culture of experimentation and to use agile methodologies in order to deliver. So yes, business agility is a KPI that you need to also consider when you're measuring your fluency when it comes to conversational AI initiatives. Now let's look at the third dimension, which is that of technology. What does using technology as a dimension of measuring your fluency mean? Well, you need to answer the question if you're using information assets as a strategic asset and are responsive to change and delivering value to the customer across touch points. Now, a lot of fancy words here. Essentially, what we mean by this is that you will need to focus on two specific areas of a technology dimension. One area has to do with data and your fluency in data, and the second has to do with the selection you will make or you have made in your conversational AI ecosystem. So let's start with discussing about data fluency to begin with. Now, conversational AI has the words artificial intelligence, AI, in its name, right? So essentially, in order to be successful in delivering conversational AI experiences, you need to be what is known as an AI first organization. What does this mean? What does it mean to be an AI first organization? And how do you reach that point? Well, in general, you need to pass from four phases. We have the exploration phase, we have the standardization phase, we have the data democratization phase, and then you may have reached the AI first phase and being an AI first organization. So what do these phases mean in the first place? Well, you are in the exploration phase when there are various individuals scattered across the organization doing small scale experiments, right? Nothing in an organized manner. They're doing small proof of concepts, running small projects, trying to understand if they can use data and AI in things like marketing campaigns, like predicting churn, product recommendations, and so on. So these are small not coordinated efforts and initiatives that are running across the organization. You know you have reached the data standardization phase when there has been an executive decision to treat data as a strategic asset. Essentially, you will know this decision has been made when a data team has been formed, the chief data officer has been assigned, and they have been also allocated a budget. Okay, these are the signs that an executive decision to treat data as a strategic asset has been made. Now, the outcome of this team, the outcome of their efforts, will be developing a data sourcing strategy. What does this mean? This means that they will start identifying all the sources of data that are of importance to the organization, where they are used, how they are used, from who they are used, and so on. You have reached the next phase, which is the data democratization phase, when data is now used in the normal decision-making process as you use your expertise, your experience, and your intuition. And at this phase, the data team has matured and has delivered what is known as the data architecture. And this data architecture essentially consists of a data dictionary, which, as we said before, identifies all data sources, makes sure there is a single version of the truth for each data element in there, comes up with a common vocabulary for their entire organization to use, classifies and mentions data according to their ownership, defines data stewardship, and all these processes that are required for data management. And finally, you have reached the AI first phase if you're using artificial intelligence and machine learning as part of a standard process to deliver customer value. In this case, artificial intelligence and machine learning is used extensively throughout the organization in a consistent manner. When you're designing a new product, it will be for granted that you will be using product recommendations to upsell or to cross-sell. You will be using personalization to make sure you increase your chance of converting potential customers to customers. You will be using NLP to have better interactions with your customers, and so on. So the next area of the technology dimension is the tool ecosystem, the solution that you will be selecting for implementing your conversational AI. Now, there are a lot of options out there, and I'm pretty sure most of you have seen more than 2 or 3 different options. And every single vendor will come to you and they will say, well, there's an infinite number of possibilities and sky is the limit and you can do anything. We are flexible and so on. Well, yes, that could be true. We're not saying it cannot be true, but you need to consider certain things. The first thing you need to consider is that this platform, this ecosystem that you will be selecting must play well with your data architecture. So it's directly correlated with your data maturity, as we said before. And playing well with your data architecture also has to do with things like the retraining, the active learning process that will be required to improve your conversational experiences. The platform needs you to be agile enough to do things like experimentation. So this means it should allow you to do fast prototyping and testing your prototypes. And finally, it should be delivered by a partner that you trust to be a domain expert in the domain, in the business domain that you are in. So we covered a lot of things. Let's try to recap on what we said today. And these are the main points. So introducing conversational AI experiences should be treated as a transformation initiative, right? It is not an end state. It's an ongoing process. And you need to be able to measure where exactly you are and how fluent you are in delivering such experiences. It should be treated as a product or service and not a project. And it needs to have its own cross-functional team. In addition, as we have proven, It is directly related to your digital maturity. So you need to use the same KPIs you use to understand where you are in terms of your digital transformation journey, the 3 dimensions we already mentioned. It will require organizational changes, for example, to put together this cross-functional team. And it does require you that you adopt a culture of experimentation and not finger pointing or blaming. So we have put together what we call a conversational AI initiative cheat sheet, which has a number of questions that you can ask yourself in order for you to understand how well you are delivering conversational AI experiences if you have just completed uh, delivering them, or what you need to ask yourself before delivering such experiences in order to be better prepared. So the first question, which is also mapping to the first dimension, has to do with if you're delivering real value to your customers. And the questions to ask here are, do they feel in control? Do they trust you? Are their experiences personalized? Do you offer them the convenience and the peace of mind that they expect? The second dimension, right, is for the second set of questions. Do you adapt to continuous change? This is the business agility dimension. Do you encourage experimentation? Is your CAI team cross-functional with end-to-end responsibility? And does it treat your CAI as a product or as a service? Do you seek continuous improvement? Very important questions that will show you how well you are delivering such experiences. And finally, when it comes to the technology dimension, is technology at the core of your business? Do you base your decisions on data? Do you consider using AI in your offering as business as usual? Do the technology selections you have made allow you to be as agile as you need to be? So this was it from my side. I hope I did manage to convince you that it's not a project, it's an initiative, it's a transformation initiative. And you can use this cheat sheet to help you either improve your experiences or to better prepare for delivering such experiences. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed the discussion. Bye.